Okay, welcome back to Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let's get to it. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. Evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial. So, here. Oops. Okay, so I just did this.
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe the photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in the photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady of any further would be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Okay, and that would be right here.
Yes!
The beefsteak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on.
The plate? Ah! Ah! Your Excellency, are you all right?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival.
Oh!
He recognizes it. This emblem on the plate and the victim's burn are the exact same shape.
Ah!
Ryunosuke, you genius. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that's the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Prosecutor Auchi, the chances of that are extremely slim.
Thanks. Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. That depends on his pain tolerance, but okay, I'll go with it. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter!
He's both, actually.
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here.
As the detective said, Anyone who burnt themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Oh. Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day... That would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Auchi?
Well, yes, I suppose.
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Rinoski, do you think... Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but... I'm starting to think that maybe... we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible, improbable. Apart from one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already... Dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness!
Order! Order! Order, please! Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot?
That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Auchi. It's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible! I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But Your Excellency...
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Oh boy. What was that smile? It's an evil smile.
Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
She speaks English, I knew it. No, she speaks Japanese, I knew it.
Ah, Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
Hosanaga's even surprised.
Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country, after all.
But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. Meh. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Okay, yeah, racist much? But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. They let women get away with murder all the time. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, well... You are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. If the epitome is rude and racist, then... We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I love the way you refer to us as inferior. Please, call me vulgar again.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please, do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Oh god. I'm gonna be honest with you all. I actually did another recording of this, playing through this section of it. Or I didn't do the recording, but I went through it because I thought it had recorded and it wasn't recording. So I'm just gonna get right to the point with these arguments. But I was like 30 minutes in, so it won't be. So it might be the remainder of the video, but I won't be like going over every single, pressing every single point though. That most captivating, beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you for calling me inferior. Easy does it. Hope that's the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. You've insulted everyone! Not at all, not at all. It's a delight to merely to hear you speak, dear lady. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go kiss Hitler's ass. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Thanks. Was that prayer, then? Well, you have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with this cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, Consul, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. Okay, here we go. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling the case immediately. Is that clear? It's like Naruto. Believe it! Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with a cross-examination. What the heck, let's go through them.
Yes!
But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and ever since now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. Hosanaga's reaction to that. What?! You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What?! Ah! Haha, what fun! Even at that angle, she has no eyes. You hadn't realized. The dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can.
Yes!
Yes, mine can too. Well, I can't. Anyway. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast.
Yes!
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at the time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink, correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although, whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you! Holy crap. Ah, I have enough English to understand that at least. For the benefit of the others in court, it means, bless you! Oh my gosh, I'm sure if somebody in English saw this guy and just went, fuck you, he would have responded with, you're welcome! I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway! As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhaging from ballistic trauma. But does that necessarily mean it's a gunshot? Yes. Luckily for all of us, the little burn on his wrist isn't going to kill us. The little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot wound to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time.
I concur. Prosecutor Auchi is right. Ugh.
If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. I know from experience. I've killed my fair share of husbands. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation.
There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Takatsuchi Auchi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions.
A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back this up here. Yes, evidence.
But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means that even the investigation takes a different direction.
Wait!
When vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to you naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you can understand. Haha, a killer blow. Just like that killer blow you did to the professor. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing! He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Auchi is finally starting to see sense.
I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryunosuke?
I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information.
Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over.
But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor.
Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke?
There is one thing I noticed, something that's been bothering me.
Bothering you, you mean? About Miss Brett?
Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga.
The detective?
Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant, if it might present an opening, maybe.
Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time.
If you think so, but
this time instead of targeting the woman herself. Let's see what we can get out of the detective.
Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking.
Yes! Wait!
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why?
Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity.
What do you mean?
When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down.
You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts.
It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought.
Sorry? Pursue?
I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker.
What marker?
At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with the directional pad, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them. A. If you can catch the person... person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across with the left and right directional pad and focus on the detective. And then pursue him with A and see what's on his mind. Here we go.
Wait! Excuse me!
Yeah! What is the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply.
It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say.
If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. You can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately.
Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness.
Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case.
Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes, if you don't mind. I would like to speak. Oh, she doesn't like that.
Better keep your mouth shut!
The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain.
Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless.
What do you really mean by that?
I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of a crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. That's also a crime. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done.
Crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example.
Oh, don't you dare bring that out!
Is that... It's the bottle of carbonated water that I took from the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Carbonated water bottle. The carbonated water the victim and Miss Brett shared on the day of the murder. It was on the victim's table. Miss Brett? Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. She has no eyes.
Very well, counsel. You may resume your cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor.
Unfortunately, I have no idea where the poor man burnt his wrist when the poor man burnt his wrist like that.
Okay, so we go to here, and... let's examine the bottle. So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. Looks like there's little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? Never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke, in more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Let's present.
Yes!
What's this? The bottle of water? Actually, there's one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Ooh. Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order! 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 And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to sip the poison into his drink? Slip the poison into his drink. There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Jezaille Brett, it was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile, have you ever considered the delicate situation of our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Paragraph 2 of that accord says that women are allowed to murder people. British women are allowed to murder people left and right. Have you even the vaguest inkling of what your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. Thank you.
Ahem, if I may. I will silence you forever for this disgraceful...
It's you who should be silent! Oh, she's getting a little heated up now, so... Alright, we're gonna call it there. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and stay awesome. I will see you next time. Take care.